everyone. Welcome to Winged Papercrafting. My name is Angel Fitch. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad you've stopped by my YouTube channel. Before we get started tonight with our Template Tuesday, I would like to thank all of the new subscribers that we've had join our community. If you would like to be a part of it and get in on the fun, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything. So we're going to do these two templates tonight for our Template Tuesday. So this one is pretty simple, just a basic card with some pattern paper on the front. And this is going to be so this is the one we're going to use for our Christmas card corner tomorrow, and this will be our fun fold that we're going to use on our Fun Fold Friday this week. And this card is just something else, and it just makes up so beautiful. So you'll get to see this one on Friday. So let's get started. We're going to start with the easier one, just because. And so let's open this up. And so we have our recipe, if you want to call it, or our directions here. So the first thing we need is a card base. So we've got a card base of 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So I'm going to give this a good burnish here to make sure it lays as flat as possible. I've got our inside piece that's 4 by 5 1/4. Then we've got a piece of cardstock for the outside of our card that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that's going to go here. And then we need some pattern paper. So I've got a piece that's 4 by 4 and one that's 4 by 1 1/8, and we're going to layer that on top of that. And then I've got cardstock for a sentiment mat, basically, and this is going to be pattern paper. It's not really the sentiment piece on this card, but you could make it that if you wanted to. But I'm going to put some pattern paper in the middle, and then we're actually going to stamp our sentiment on our little pattern paper here. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But let's go ahead and get our template put together. So I will take this piece of cardstock here, and as you know, I use these 3 different colors. So I use black, that is for our card base. I use this basic gray for our anything that represents cardstock, and I use gray granite for anything that's pattern paper. When you go to make yours, you could use any 3 colors that you want. It doesn't really matter. It's just what I chose. You can choose whatever you like or whatever you have. As long as you understand and know what the pieces mean, it's all good. So let's open up our card base here, and I'm going to put this piece of cardstock on here. Now this is a little bigger than the normal front layer that I put on, so this has just got like a very skinny 1/8 of an inch around the outside edges. So we'll put, let's try straightening that up though. That is so crooked. Oh my goodness. Let's get this moved over a bit down here. Let's try more like that. That looks better. Okay, so we'll give that a good burnish down. Now, we'll put our inside piece in here. Now, as you see, I wrote my instructions or measurements here on the inside. Piece of advice, write on them before you put them in case you make a mistake. You can always flip the paper over and write on the back. So ask me how I know that. So I seem to always make a mistake every time I go to write the instructions on the inside, but that's okay. Nobody's perfect, right? Okay, so we'll get this put down here, just on our inside here. Get some extra glue running around. Okay, so there's our inside. Now let's build up our front. So we've got our 4 by 4 piece of pattern paper that would go This is really bothering me. This is still crooked. Oh my goodness. Why is this so crooked? Let's see if we can just get this up a minute. Let's see if I can move this over. Okay. There we go. All right, we're going to go with that. May not be perfect, but that's okay, right? Okay, so we've got our 4x4 piece of pattern paper that was going to go here at the top. So we're going to put it right there. Ugh, come on. Need to move it to the top a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. So right like that. And then we're going to do another piece of pattern paper that'll go down here. So in the ones that I'm going to show you tomorrow, I used 2 different pieces of pattern paper. And I'll show you how I used a pretty basic piece of pattern paper for the bottom here, because this will be the same place that I'm going to stamp our sentiment on top of the pattern paper. So this piece and this piece are more for just focal decoration more than they are to house the sentiment. And again, you'll see more of that tomorrow when we go through actually making this card. So I'm going to take this focal piece here and I'm going to put it on with some glue to go flat. In the ones that I'm going to make tomorrow and the examples that I made, I did pop this piece up. So you could do either, whichever one, you know, feels good to you at the time. You can do either. So you can make it flat or you can pop it up. I'm just going to make it flat for our example here, for our template. So there's our first one. So pretty simple. This is our easy button card. Now for our fun fold, let's go ahead and get into this one. So I'm going to take now on this fun fold, as you can see, we're going to have a little sentiment here, but our piece that you would actually write on is going to be on the back. So we're going to turn this over so we have our directions. So I've got a piece of our base cardstock here that is 8.5 by 5.5, and it is scored at, you can see here, 1.5, 2 5/8, 6 7/8, and then at 9. Okay, so then we just go ahead and fold all these and burnish these really good. So we've got each of these to burnish, and then our little 1/2-inch ones here. Okay, now, first thing we got to do is, before we glue anything into this one, we're going to take our paper trimmer, and we are going to take these little 1/2-inch flaps here that we've created, and I'm going to just set this right down here on that 1/2-inch score line, right in the channel for the trimmer. And we are going to cut up 1.5 inches from the top. So I'm just going down to the 1.5 inch line here on the trimmer. And then, so there's that. We're going to turn it around and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go 1.5 inches up from the bottom. And this is going to create our little wings that our inside fold mechanism is going to attach to. So let's go 1.5 inches now, like that. Okay, so we've got 1.5 inches up from the bottom, 1.5 inches up from the top. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to put this right down here. And we're going to go 1.5 inches. I'm going to flip this around, and we will do 1.5 inches this way. Okay, so just like that. Now, we've got this and this. Now I'm going to take my scissors, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this. So here's our point right here. I'm just going to snip this off. So from the edge and on a diagonal right up to the score line. So just like that. And then we'll go same thing on this side. From the outside up to the score line. Okay. And we're going to do that on the other side. And we'll just snip that there. And then again on this side. Okay, perfect. Now, this is going to come together right there in the middle. All right, perfect. Okay, next thing we've got our pop-out mechanism, which this is this piece. So this piece is 3 by 10 5/8, and I've scored it at 2 1/8, 4 1/4, 6 3/8, and 10 5/8. And then I have burnished this, and I've burnished each one of these both directions. So you want this to really be able to move well. So you want to burnish each of these score lines in each direction. So I kind of just did them one at a time. Went one way and then the other way, so that it would be very flexible in its movement, because we really want it to move as we go in and out. And then back this way. Okay, so here's our piece. And basically the way it's going to fold up is right side and then left side. So left side over right side. Okay, now, next thing we need our message panel. So this is the panel that's going to go on the back. So I have a piece of white here that's 4 by 5 1/4. So it's going to go here. But before we put that down, it's going to take a piece of, we're going to take a piece of pattern paper that's 4 by 1/2 inch, and this is just going to be decoration down here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and glue that on. You can see on this one I put it all the way at the bottom. You don't necessarily have to put it all the way at the bottom. On one of the examples that I made, I put it up a little bit. So I put it more like this, which I think I kind of like better than all the way at the bottom, but you do whatever looks good to you. So in this one, I'm going to do a little different. I'm just going to do it there, because I think that looks a little better than putting it all the way at the bottom. Now, we're going to take this, and we'll glue this to the back of our card. So that's going to go here. And we're just going to line this up, center that up best as possible. Okay, got that down. Now we'll go back and work there in here. Now we need a piece of cardstock that is, and it looks like I forgot to cut the piece that goes in here. I could have swore I did, but I guess I didn't. So we'll cut a piece real quick. Let me get the right. So this is going to be pattern paper that's going to go in the middle there. So I'm just going to take a piece of the gray granite cardstock, and we'll just cut a piece real quick. It needs to be 4 by 5 1/4. So we'll do 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so that was an easy fix. So this is going to go in here. So let's get this down. So we'll put that in here. And then next thing we need, so we've got our 4 by 1/2 inch of pattern paper that went on the back here, our 4 by 5 1/4 that went here. Then we need 1 7/8 by 2 3/4. We need 4 of those. So that's going to be these 4 right here. Okay, and these are going to go on our fold out mechanism here, or pop out mechanism, I guess we're calling it. We also need a piece of cardstock that's that same size, 1 7/8 by 2 3/4, because it's going to go here in the middle. So pattern paper on the 2 outside edges, and move this up so you guys can see. So pattern paper, cardstock, pattern paper. So I'm going to start with a piece of pattern paper here. And we'll put that there. And then our second piece we're going to put here. And I'm trying to line these up now across the top and bottom so that they look even. Put our piece of cardstock in the middle. So when we get ready to make our card, we'll stamp on this before we put this in here. But for now, we're just doing our template. So we'll put that right there. Another piece of pattern paper over here. And last piece goes here. Okay, so we've got that all down. All right, let's put this to the side for a second while we finish in here. So we've got here, these 2 panels here. Those panels are going to be 1 7/8 by 2 and, what is it? No, 1 7/8 by 5 1/4 are going to go here. Now, I have these done in pattern paper. Just be aware, and you'll see when I go to show you my examples on Friday, you can put pattern paper here or you can put cardstock here. It is completely up to you. I have some that I did with a pattern paper because I had pattern paper that went with like what I was putting in here. And some of the pattern paper that I chose to use, I didn't really have another piece of pattern paper that looked good with it. So I put cardstock in here. So you can do either one. Completely up to you. Okay, so we've got that. Now, on the outside, we've also going to put pattern paper. Same measurements. 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. And this is the same way as the 2 on the inside. You could do pattern paper, or you could do pattern paper out here, or cardstock. It's completely up to you. On one of my examples for Friday, I put cardstock out here, but then I stamped on it, so it kind of looked like I made my own pattern paper. So just remember, it's your card. You can do whatever you want to do. And then we'll get this one over here. I'll line this up so that it's pretty even with this piece on the left hand, or the right hand side, sorry. Okay, so there we go. All right, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so there's our base. Now, we're going to take our pop-up mechanism here, and on this piece right here, on the back of the piece that's in the middle, we're going to put glue. And we are going to take this and we are going to center this right in the middle of our card. So that piece that's white, I want centered as best I can. So top to bottom and left to right. So we're really looking for the center. As close as we can get. All right, so we're going to glue that down. Now, to connect our mechanism here, we're going to take some tear and tape, and I'm going to take a piece. So you want to lay these little wing things out here flat, and just do one at a time. Put a piece of tear and tape on here, and you can use adhesive. You can use liquid glue, but I found that didn't really stick too well. You could try seal. I didn't try seal to see if that would work, but I'm sure it would because it's a little stronger than the liquid glue is. But you want something that's going to have some real bond to this, because these are going to get a lot of work in a workout. They're going to get a real workout. So I'm just going to burnish these tear and tapes down here. And then we will take off our backing. Okay, so once you take the backing off, make sure everything is flat. Take this, lay it out, and just lay it down. Burnish that. And then it's going to be stuck to right where it needs to be. So we'll do this side, and we'll do the same thing. Make sure everything is flat, lay that out, give it a good burnish. And there is our card. It's kind of a thicker card, so it's probably going to require some extra postage if you were going to send this in the mail. But it'd be a great card to hand deliver for sure. But it just works like that. So, okay. So here are our 2 templates that we made tonight. We've got 2 of these and we've got 2 of these. So, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and ring that bell so that you get notified every time I upload a video. And I will be back tomorrow with our Christmas Card Corner series, and we're going to use this template for that. So I will see you all tomorrow. Have a crafty evening. Bye.